This is the test of time.
That is the sound of coffee. Iced coffee. Starting the podcast off with some ASMR. ASMR radio.
Let me see if you can hear like the pull apart.
Oh yeah. There you go. That's good. I like that. Wow, this is a good start.
Very intimate.
Very intimate. I'm just.
Ooh. Let me get some of that. Hey.
Oh, you hear it?
I do. Thank you.
You guys do your thing. I'm gonna double check. We are recording.
So Christine,
Yes, Armani.
what is your carrier oil?
I'm just gonna play.
Okay.
Whoa. That's the sound of an ohm vibration
Yes.
right there with Armani.
Universal connection. Ooh.
Little froggy. This is the heart 432 hertz.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that is really good. I picked it up really well. Oh, snap. All right.
Welcome everybody to the Electric Eyes TV.
Shit's getting weird.
We have two special guests here. Uwak Creative and Armani,
Mindful Manny.
Mindful Manny.
Mani.
Mani.
I feel like I need to rebrand. That's not the first time.
Is it not?
No.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess that's
It
my
looks
bad.
like
No.
Manny, I get it.
No,
I
no, no,
get
no.
it.
That's my bad. I mean,
But it-
Armani. I say your full name correctly.
No, it's okay.
And yeah, no.
Because you're not the first person who has either known or not known my name to say Manny still.
Mani. Yeah.
I need to rebrand.
Do you think so? Just because?
It's also like a manicure studio too. Oh, right.
Oh, okay.
So Mindful Manny
Mindful.
Cures.
Oh.
You know? And it's like when you
Oh.
type in Mindful Manny Mani, they are the first thing that comes up, not me. So it's like, ooh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
When did you think about that? To shift?
Rebranding?
Yeah.
After someone on their IG live, I had kind of like responded to something, and they're like, "Yep, that's right, Mindful Manny." I was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah.
That was like the first time I thought about it, and then the second time when I typed it in and I saw that it was a manicure studio, I was like, "Okay, so I'm not gonna be the first thing that pops up." So I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're in a space of recognizing when we mess up. So thank you, Armani, for correcting me.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
There you go. Mindful.Manny on
Mani.
Instagram.
It's Mani. It's Mani.
I thought you did that on purpose.
Oh my god.
See?
It's my linguistics.
Yeah.
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 It's
Mani.
Just ma.
I know.
Or just mindful Armani.
It just doesn't flow the same.
It doesn't.
I don't know.
Mindful Armani. It just, I don't know. It doesn't flow the same.
I kind of like it actually.
I kind of
Well-
want to just make it my Gmail, like Armani is mindful,
Armani is mindful.
you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People will know my name. They'll know I'm mindful.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Cool.
Thinking.
Yeah, thinking.
Sounds
Brewing.
good.
Yeah.
Wellness advocate.
Wellness
Yeah,
advocate.
With a little fairy.
Yes. They're very much so fairy.
Yeah.
So graceful. Armani.
Thank you.
Oh, let's introduce the land?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes,
So I
yes.
wanted to start off by acknowledging and honoring the land that we are on, which is the Ohlone tribe. I might be saying this wrong. If anyone's out there, you can correct me for sure. I'm open to it. Muwekma Ohlone tribe is kind of the region of San Jose, Santa Clara, I think Santa Clara County in general. So, yeah, so that's just recognizing that, allowing us to be here today to do this video cast, and in a way, like, kind of not profiting but benefiting from the past, like, I guess, extraction, the disposition of what was here before us. So just completely honoring that. So I think that's a good way to lead into a grounding moment, just so that we feel into the space. Mindful Mani is gonna lead us through that.
Gotcha. All right. Maybe placing your feet or whatever you want to place below you. Maybe if it's your legs or your toes, whatever it might be, really just feeling around, moving those extremities of your body, connecting. Regardless of what land you are occupying at the moment, being grateful that you are here. Being grateful that you have the opportunity to expand on your creation. Acknowledging those who came before you. And those that will come after you. As well as everyone else here with you now. Showing appreciation for who you are as an individual, through and through. And respecting your honest wishes and desires. And finding the people around you that continue to bring the best out of you, and you bringing the best out of them. It's a gift. Yeah. Ashe. Peace, blessings, Hotep, all the different ending salutations.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's always good. It's always good to start and to reground. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are y'all feeling? I'll shout out to my men's circle. Let's start off with some I feel statements. Like I'll start it off. That really grounded me.
Yeah.
Especially with my breath. I feel my breath more. I feel more connected to my breath, and I feel peaceful. I feel my heart beating. I feel my toes and feet tingling with the carpet. Feels nice and soft. My feet are perspiring. I feel it. It feels good to be alive and with you two here. And I pass this on to Armani.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel peaceful. I feel I'm in good company. Yeah, I feel gratitude, a lot of it, to be here and know that I can be myself, and it's like it may or may not be understood, but so what? You know?
Yeah.
That's really special. Like knowing. I feel that's a gift to have people who you don't have to explain yourself to, whether they understand you or not, that doesn't matter, because they're still here regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's special.
That is special. Yeah, I feel, thank you both for sharing. It was very powerful as well. I feel I'm super juiced on caffeine right now. So I'm just like, I feel so good. I feel like so good, like just so good. Like I'm just so grateful. But no, seriously, I do feel a little more playful today, and I think the grounding exercise just kind of made me tap into that like playfulness and joy. And so I'm very grateful to be able to like do that with you both in this space, and honoring the space. Yeah. Every historical moment and every I guess evolution just kind of all contributed us to be here today. So thank you all. And so leading into that, there's no agenda. There's no agenda here today. So thank you all for bearing with the improvised act. But I see a book.
Yeah.
I see a book on Armani's side here.
It's big.
And it's just by the title.
It's big.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes.
And
by
then
Dr.
Joy Degruy.
Dr. Joy Degruy.
And then I'll read this little part. America's Legacy of Enduring Injury and Healing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to provide like just
some context?
Yeah, some context,
Sure.
some summaries.
I came across this book some months ago, and most times whenever I do share this title or people see this, they're like, oh.
Right.
But it's like it makes so much sense, you know? So with one of my classes that I did with the agency, one of the yoga classes, I made it more meditative, and I focused on some quotes from this book as well.
Yeah. Just
some different parts, but you know, I'm only, I think, on chapter 3 right now, but everything is very just insightful. It's very clear, and that's something I really appreciate about her writing style. But what I was most recently reading was a couple things I do want to share. But what I was most recently reading was kind of just the construction of race. Not even the construction of race. Yeah. And how different things have become racist. And the last piece that I was reading was The Power of Definition. And she defined opinion, belief, fact, truth, science, and theory. So just showing everyone the difference between all of those things. But then I know I'm a person who really appreciates the definition of things. So if I don't know a word, if I want to make sure that the word that I'm using is clear about what I really want to say, I will look up the definition first. Like I feel words, and I want to make sure that what I'm conveying is what's true to me. Yeah. So let's see. I've heard this before. I thought it was another scholar in history, but it was just talking about how what's his name? Carl Linnaeus. Some of you may remember him from high school or college biology class, who laid the groundwork for taxonomy of like plants and animal kingdoms, but there was also race in there. So it was very, very specific when it came to plants and animals. But when it comes to humans, I don't know the full description, if there was literally a chapter and then there was like this much on race and that just classified everything, but it was saying that Homo americanus, I'm assuming, well, reddish, I don't know how to pronounce all of these, but choleric, obstinate, contended, and regulated by custom. So traditional people, I don't know what choleric means, but all of these different, can you look that up? I'm curious. Yeah. CHOLERIC. And obstinate. Definition of obstinate.
stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or chosen course of action despite attempts to persuade one to do so.
And that's what America tried to have them do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's to have someone define an entire group of people based on how they look and like what they tried to do to them is what I have an issue with, and make it scholarly. This is all an opinion. Like if you go back on the collegiate definition of these words, these are opinions and beliefs on people that were made into theories and science.
Yeah.
So those were our native folks. Homo europaeus, as white, fickle, sanguine, blue-eyed, gentle, and governed by laws. Fickle means... Oh, we didn't even... Choleric.
Choleric, bad-tempered or irritable. So, I'm trying to maybe draw like a...
I mean, you're taking their land. You expect them not to be bad-tempered?
Yeah. Right, like disagreeable. There's a whole bunch of adjectives. Uncooperative. What else? Argumentative. Mm-hmm. Hot-tempered. Yeah. That's kind of the... It's a lot of... there's a lot on here. But that's kind of the general arcing. But it... Yeah.
It all connects.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Homo europaeus, as white, fickle, sanguine, blue-eyed, gentle, and governed by laws. Fickle meaning... Oh, I defined it but didn't write it down. So what is that defined as?
Fickle?
Do you mind?
Yeah, no, I could look that up.
And I can look up sanguine. Definition of sanguine.
Fickle.
As an adjective, it means optimistic or positive, especially in an apparently bad or difficult situation. Do you want to hear the next one?
I mean, it got worse as I continued to define them with Siri, but it's just like still saying the positivity and destruction is what I got from that.
Right. Yeah.
So what does fickle say?
Fickle is an adjective, changing frequently, especially as regards one's loyalties, interests, or affection.
Erratic, changeableness.
Yeah. Changeable, I guess unfaithful, faithless. I'm just kind of reading the similar terms here. Skittish, impulsive, unpredictable, random, volatile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah.
And governed by laws. Who said so?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Homo asiatus, Sallow, Sallow. And I wrote wow next to it. I don't remember what it means, but I felt away. Sallow, grave, dignified, avaricious, and ruled by opinion.
Of a sallow, Sallow.
Yeah.
Of a grayish, greenish, yellow color.
Okay.
Including important sources of charcoal and tan bark.
Okay.
Is there like a sentence that
the word appears in Old English, dusky, dark, grayish, greenish, yellow. So were they talking about color?
Yeah.
Maybe like depression? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to build I'm contextualizing or compartmentalizing it, the word, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's trying to be more metaphorical in the context of the
Well, no,
sentence.
they give off color with all of these too.
Yeah.
Color that does not look healthy.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. So...
like who said?
Yeah.
And sanguine also, it said like bloodthirsty. And this is going back to the Europe white folks.
Europeans,
yes.
Yep.
Sanguine, like in the archaic definition, it also meant bloodthirsty. So it's like, why would you use that word?
Yeah.
You know? Homo afer.
Homo afer.
They're referring to me here.
Right. Yeah.
Phlegmatic. And I looked that up and I felt away for sure. I think it meant like... Are you looking it up? If not, I could...
How do you spell it?
P-H.
Oh, P-H. Okay, I was looking up flag. P-H...
L-E-G. Matic.
Oh, there it is. resembling, consisting of, or producing the humor, having or showing a slow and stolid temperament.
Right. So look up stolid, because I looked that up and that told me a lot.
Little
Having
unemotional.
or expressing little or no sensibility, unemotional.
Right. Also adjectives: cunning, lazy, lustful, careless, and governed by caprice. Definition of caprice:
a sudden and unaccountable change of mood or behavior.
So
Do you want to hear the...
No need. So it's just like all of these adjectives justified why the Europeans could be, reading between the lines here, bloodthirsty, governed by laws, and able to say what they wanted to do. And justifying that these people just act this way because that's just in their temper, or
right.
Especially, I mean, everyone here.
Yeah.
We all have our fingers pointed for why we are wrong, but what really hurt me was with phlegmatic, it was saying you're unemotional. So it's like, it also talked about that with us, with them seeing us as not, us being dehumanized so they could do what they wanted to do to us for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
She covers so much so simply. And it's like, for me to have the expectation to want to read a chapter a day, like, they're not crazy long, but they're long enough to where it's like I have to really sit and reflect every page. So it's hard.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's an amazing book. If you ever want to look at it, borrow it. Or if you even want to look at it, borrow it now while we probably talk about some points, whatever.
Yeah. No.
Can we show the title again? I feel like it's just it's a very strong title.
Yeah. And she also mentioned how even with her title, it's an opinion or a belief or a theory. Because, like, theory and science, like, science is supposed to be ruled by facts, and, like, theory is just an idea. She even said with this, it's just an idea, but it's something worth mentioning and thinking about.
Yes. Yeah. This really brings me back to my, I think it's a 6-week seminar course that I'm in with University Justice and Liberation. One of the guest speakers, Soya Jung from Change Lab, she gave us a general arc around the construction of racialization, and it's birthed from Europeans.
Frustrating.
Europeans developed this practice in light of their scarcity mindset during coming out of, like, the wars, the World War II and World War One. And so they were strategizing on how do they regain their wealth again after some devastating events that took a toll on their wealth. And so that's what kind of spearheaded their colonization efforts, imperialism, throwing out terms out there, but essentially imperialism to gain control through militarization, whether that's just land acquisition, and so dispossessing people. And so kind of going back into our land acknowledgement here, right in the beginning of this video cast. And so it is infuriating. Like, it's so much in a way that this practice has pigeonholed every person, as a body of people. Like, we literally don't see each other. We don't see each other. Like, we don't. Where there's so much fabrication around these layers and history. Layers of it has brought us here today. Just to, like, now it's our work to unravel it. Pen.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting that we're doing that work. We're doing the work to dismantle it when we weren't even the ones to create it, right? And so it's like that labor, right? That's what a lot of folks in this, like, sphere who are trying to practicing advocating, right, for human rights, and is in a way, like, to abolish these institutionalized practices of racialization. Like, it's interesting that we're still here today, and, like, the birth of this book, birth the birth of this book.
Man.
Brown skin, white minds. Like, so much birthing comes out of a practice that wasn't even inherently ours.
It makes me want to cry.
It does. I'm actually getting very teary-eyed out of like passion and angry, quick-tempered, you know, like, or whatever we want to call that as. And I forgot. So going back to Soya Jung, she mentioned that, and I was like, wow, that's very powerful to know. Cause then it almost alleviates. I mean, I already have a certain distaste for the white majority, but it helps contextualize like historically what has actually happened, right? Yeah. And so kind of spearheading into that, like Soya Jung also talked about how when people who identify as Black or just people from Africa here to the United States, they also brought indentured Europeans here as well to be a part of that working class group. And so when that happened, they further racialized people by giving tokens to the European identifying groups to imply that there is like a difference based on your color, right? And so that kind of also births like this idea of if you work hard enough, right? If you work hard enough, you can make it out.
And that's the model minority
myth. The model minority myth. But no, it's not, because you have to look at the person who's actually creating that, right? Who's creating that institutionalized divide? It's crazy. It's so crazy. They're like, oh shit, like it makes so much sense. Yeah, no, it's a lot. It really is. Like, we're here reaping that today
and trying to like mop up the mess,
essentially. Like we're here, three creative people, three people who come into this with love, right? In the spaces that we are a part of. We're here.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want...
Hey, Mike.
Mike! I have boogers!
Yeah.
When you get a Scorpio moon in the podcast...
It's a lot. And I don't know if we should have done what we did before this podcast.
No, and
we love coffee. It's a lot.
It makes sense for us to feel this way, to feel the grief. I think something this year, I don't know if any of you out there who have, I guess, who have given yourself permission to look at the side of things, like there's grief that's happening, right? Or something like, or for me I statements, right? Like I feel that I've been grieving this year because I've come to reckon with this information, with this history, with this work that many of people of color have been doing, BIPOC communities have been doing. And so it's a lot, and I think I don't want to frame our resiliency around like still being here. I mean, I know it's a testament of our resilience, but also like truly like there's just so much harm, and I really don't know where to go from there. Really, it's just and so I think here you can use mine. Mine is more free. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. we're like a behind the scenes. We're like, she wants a screen. She wants to be attached to the internet to search up something. Yeah. But yeah, no, we're free flowing today. And Soya Jung, thank you so much for sharing that with us through the University Justice and Liberation 6-week course. I don't know if they'll be doing another one, but I really highly recommend it for a lot of if you identify within like the Asian community. That term, it's very overarching as well. Oh, am I too loud? I'm like, I want to get closer.
Concentrated.
Stop it.
It's just gonna clip off.
Oh, okay. And so if anyone's interested, I think that's a great workshop to do. I was apprehensive, I'm not gonna lie, around the term Asian American, but what they helped me realize is Asian American more as like a political statement and a political movement, so that way we can actually work together for our collective liberation. So again, realizing how personal I take things, so working on that, right?
University of Justice and Liberation
by
Sylvia Jung.
Soya Jung. Soya Jung.
Is that it?
Oh no. Soya Jung. I don't know if you want to. I don't know if they have a website. They just. But Soya Jung from Change Lab. Change Lab. Yeah.
Okay.
Very powerful.
I'll have it all in the description.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, I'm not doing a summary justice of, I'm not doing it justice right now. Sure. But yeah, it brings me back to like truly like this work of in a way, like I guess reckoning with our somatic experience as BIPOC people, and I guess contextualizing it a little bit more helps, I think. Right. To perhaps move a little bit through it. And I think that's also what perhaps not yoga per se, but maybe movement or like anything that's creative practices, creative expression, I think is what helps many of us, but it doesn't solve the problem. So I just want us to remind that everyone out there who's listening, because abolish. That's where I'm at. But yeah, so that's kind of
it doesn't solve the problem. That's very strong. And
no.
And what you said earlier about being a part of the design and then living through it, suffering through it, and then having to dismantle it yourself.
Yep.
That's very very strong.
Yes. I mean, I grab that from a lot of folks who are in the activist spaces. They say that very often, like, this is crazy that the labor is amongst us people who are activists. And so even if people is prescribed to the model minority myth and don't know that they are prescribing to it, they're just as impacted, right?
Can you define that?
So the model minority myth is essentially assimilating to the social agreements that, in a sense, like concludes that there is like a hierarchy, like you can achieve social hierarchy, such as being a doctor, being a lawyer, or all these things that many Asian, I like to use that term lightly because it's not conducive to how diverse
that word is.
And even African too, like just
right.
The idea of continental is birthed from Europeans. Let's just go from there. They did that, so the fact that I have to do that is but anyway, so all these different positions, the positionality to essentially like climb the ladder. But why is there a ladder in the first place, right? Like, why is it that there is something to elevate us to? Which is weird, because it's all a part of like working labor, the working force, brain drain, the idea of brain drain, people coming from different parts of the world, right, to contribute to the labor here. Capitalism is also another root cause. And so so that's kind of what the minority myth is, or not a myth, but an identity, I would say more so. And I see it very much so amongst like our Philam community, prescribing to that identity, whether that's being a nurse, right? And a lot of the times with modern minority, what I've noticed, that identity, it kind of roots back to that I worked hard, so I deserve this, right? But no.
But not really realizing
but not
the
root of like, who says that you even need to work hard to be valuable, right?
Say it again.
Yeah, who said that? Who said that your hard work constitutes your value or what you do? It does not contribute to what you embody as an individual who's made it out here, right, into earth. So the modern minority identity is something that has continued to further racialize
and
detach us, and to say like, why are they, if I could do it, they could do it. That, but no. Yeah.
One thing that I would like to share with all of us here is I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, so I do apologize, and please correct me, but Kintsugi is a Japanese pottery method. Yes. Fixing broken pottery with a special lacquer with dusted with powdered gold. So essentially it shows resilience, and that's it's showing what we are doing. It's like, maybe I shouldn't even say mopping up the mess, but we're putting the pieces back together, and we are that gold dust, that gold crack. Like, we're showing that we fixed that crack and made it better and made it more beautiful, and it's still functions, it's resilient, you know?
Yeah, very, very much so.
A little different. Not the intended construction you wanted, but it's still functional, and it works.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And I think what's really beautiful about discerning like what breaks us is it's this really reckoning with the history.
Yeah.
Not because you're more like, you know, like you, I don't know, like, I guess I'm trying to contextualize it in a sense of like your car breaking down.
Okay.
To be like, I'm resilient out of this. But more so really recognizing like, why isn't even there's a car culture out there, and why is it that they're extracting oils from the ocean that literally induces oil spills and plagues our ocean? Like, there's so much root, not just because your car, right? Like, really discerning like what really breaks us down, what are the cracks, what causes those cracks. And I really want to give permission to people to look at that, to realizing like how you're either perpetuating harm, or even, because I want to speak on behalf of the Phil-Am, right? The Phil-Am community, right? And I want to speak for that framework, because there's always so much better that as a collective, a body of people, we can do better in, right? Not do better, but maybe recognize and sit with that. But yeah.
Kintsugi. I have it on the monitor.
Gold cracks.
Yeah, that's us. Look at the little smiley face at the bottom too.
Yeah.
That's us.
I was, as you guys were talking, I was meditating on The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, and I was visioning the visit of Neo to the architect, and the architect was dressed in all white hair, white mustache. From my memory, I could be wrong, with a white background.
Is this the first one, or the?
This is the first one, I believe. He was the designer, the architect. Okay. He looked like your average, or not your average, but he looked like Colonel Sanders.
Okay.
Right, and so that I just realized the symbolic representation of the architect, the designer, who was this white male, right. Colonel Sanders,
right,
who was
I think that's something.
The designer of the whole construct, the matrix the mainframe, the matrix, the architect.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Awareness. It's interesting to see the different points that people are in their journey especially as BIPOC communities, because we're in a position to be able to even talk about this, right? I think there's definitely many folks who are within our communities who can't even talk about it, right? Because they're in a certain phase, they're in a certain part of their journey, and so yeah, just recognizing that too, like being able to delineate that. A lot of the scholars, right, have the ability to, and books, be able to contextualize this a little bit more for us. And so, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to get to is like acknowledging my positionality and my privilege, right, in this position, right. So yeah,
I think I'm grateful. Not even I think. I'm grateful that we've done the work enough to be able to sit here and talk about all this.
Yes. You know? Yeah. Yep. It gets, I think something that I've noticed, it gets a little, not easier, but maybe there is like that sense of perseverance when, definitely if you try to talk to me about this like 21, I'd be just angry, right? I wouldn't even be able to formulate a sentence, you know. But here, being 25, fast forwarding, right, it gets a little bit, I think, I don't know, like if maybe that's what progress looks like amongst our collective community. Like I don't,
right. And I think we have to acknowledge, like, you know, you might be at step 7 or whatever step you think you might be on, but we have to acknowledge, like, how long did it take for us to get here,
right?
And like giving other people grace that they might not move in a couple weeks, months, years that you want them to, but are they moving, or are they staying stagnant, or are they going back? I think that's kind of what we really need to
discern.
Yes.
Yeah. Something I thought about the other day was what this is gonna be public, but what would it look like to attend like a right wing organization meeting? Like what would that look like? Right. Yeah. Because a lot of people within my proximity are those who resonate, you know, and it makes sense, right? Like your community, who you your pod map, right? Like if I were to draw pod mapping, is a way to help contextualize like who your circle of people are. So like you're in the center, and then you have your different pods outside of you. And so like if you're, say, going back to my car,
that's the center right there.
Yeah.
Looks like the flower.
I believe transformative justice birth.
Transform harm?
So I think transform the collective. I'm not sure. Sorry.
I have my pen in my book.
No, I'll just give your book back.
Okay.
Transformative Justice Collective.
BATJC.
Yeah.
Began using the term pod.
Yeah, I believe. Oh yeah, Mia Mingus. She's a great. She's somebody who's been in the transformative justice work and who essentially like helped bring it out to.
Transformharm.org.
I don't know if that is their
community accountability.
Yeah, but anyway, so pod mapping, I forgot what was I going at with that, but going back into that and realizing like who's in your proximity, like I would definitely put you in my like in my outer circles, right, of my pod map, or like Terranate or people from Be the Change. That would be my, and then your outer circle would be those who you still need to develop trust with, right? To bring in, right? To like know that they could that it has the potential that you could call them if something were to happen, right? And so when we kind of when we're in that like in that bubble in our sphere, like what I guess in the lens of trying to understand the other you're opposing whatever differing like thank you for providing that differing views, like what does that look like? Because I mean, even in your own pod map circle or your pod circle, there's still going to be differing views for sure, you know, but there still is like, I think there still is a core value that allows me to actually put to consider you all like a part of that inner circle of trust, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like for me myself, I'm a whole Chinese calendar older than the both of you, exactly, and I'm barely touching the surface with everything right now. But it took some lots of listening, like deep listening from especially my partner, Uwak.
Yeah.
And
Can I?
yeah, go ahead.
I definitely thought that was like you kind of like being funny and saying like you whack creative. Like I thought that's what it was. Like you whack creative. Like that's really what I thought it was.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that's what art is in a sense. Like Mani. Right. Like it's kind of interesting how we face value face value of everything, because Uwak like is Raven in Tagalog, and not that that's my native tongue. I do want to recognize that as well, and something that kind of brought me to use that as a forefront, I guess, like a forefront maybe avatar name. I had a card reading that was pulled the White Raven, and that was a pivotal time for me, or a transformative time to, in a sense, like spiral me in, or like not pigeonhole, but like catalyze me to be a part, to go deeper in this work, go deeper in the creative expression. And I guess like in a way, like looking back at trying to contextualize more of these roots, the roots that we have with these issues, whatever, how we want to say it, but yeah, so that's, but yeah, going back to Mike, sorry, I kind of got segued into me. Please, Mike. I'm taking up too much space on this video cast. I'm gonna fall back. Okay.
No, this is not even about me. It's about everybody, and
normalize acknowledging when you're taking up too much space.
Taking up way too much space.
Oh, I love that you said normalizing. That's healthy.
Normalize it. Normalize it when I get something wrong.
Right. We're doing it again.
Yeah.
Please, Mike.
Yeah, please, Mike. Whole calendar away from us. Away from us.
Yeah, no, it's not linear. It's multidimensional. Right?
Words.
Yeah, and just having a partner who is doing most of the pulling and the inner work, or just it's hard to articulate myself, but also being this Filipino, raised up Catholic, and man, I just forgot what I was going.
I mean, you're feeling it. I think you're feeling into the space that we're talking about. I don't think. I have more questions than answers.
More questions than answers.
You know, like I think in this moment in time, I don't know. I still don't. There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much to question.
What I was going at is, if it weren't for the Black Lives Matter movement,
right,
I wouldn't be as, and all the social activists,
right.
And I've been watching you in your like lead Filipino groups, and just always listening to,
right,
like I'm not joining, but I get to listen, and it's just moved me in the way where I want to do some more digging and seeing of my own roots. And if it weren't for the Black Lives Matter movement, I wouldn't be doing this digging and doing this work.
Right.
And for example, there's this book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, by Ibram X Kendi. I think am I saying that right? I think so.
It's a really good book. He's a really great writer.
And so he's even saying that he, I don't know if I'm saying this wrong, but he was also racist in a way, or anti-black.
His actions were kind of reflecting that.
Yeah, and so he had to do some dismantling. Of himself.
It's good.
Behind the scenes.
But yes, no, yeah. It's, I guess, because it's weird that, again, going back to that statement, like BIPOC communities still have to do that work, right? And I don't think he was reckoning that to like I guess trying to acknowledge his positionality, not from a place of, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's like the design, right? The design that's been put in place. Like we are assimilating to this whole design and not realizing how deeply rooted our actions, our thoughts, our words, our culture is engraved into us.
Isn't it sick?
And I am starting to realize it myself. I feel like this Mr. Ibram Kendi, I relate with him. Yeah. And I'm starting to see the reflection within myself and how anti-Black I was.
Right.
In many layers.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
We might even be anti-Filipino too.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's where also, and even the word Filipino is not conducive to the indigenous people of that region. I want to recognize that as well, because the term Filipino has been birthed by Spaniards. But anyway, King Felipe. Yes. Anyway,
like I don't even want to resonate with Philippines anymore. The word Philippines.
Yes,
because King Felipe is in there. I'm like, I don't want to say Philippines anymore or Filipino.
Right. It's really hard. It's really hard because those were identifying factors. You know, like words. We're in a time where words are identity, and what would that look like if we didn't have them? Right. Like if I didn't even have a name.
Because now that makes me wonder where America comes from.
Exactly.
Because I know Africa is definitely an explorer too.
Yeah, I think I looked up term America before, but
it's too much.
Yeah, I don't even identify as an American. I don't want to identify as an American. So white nationalists or anyone who's a nationalist. That's another thing too. Nationalism as well. That's essentially what it is. The nationalism of many of these like socio-political differing bodies of people.
And it's also like you have to acknowledge that we have a North America and a South America. So when you're saying, you know, like you love, respect, want to be a patriot of America, are you acknowledging all of America or just the part that's in the middle between Canada and Mexico?
Even once you're a patriot of America, you're talking about the institution of America.
Right, not the
land. Right. Because if people were really about the land, we wouldn't be covering it, like we wouldn't be treating it the way it's being treated, like pesticide. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, and that's a lot of indigenous people's culture is like really valuing the land. That's like engraved.
And when you said pesticides, did you know that like a lot of essential oils are naturally pesticides? And it's frustrating. Why do we got to go to chemicals?
I know.
Monsanto.
Orange essential oil.
Lavender, peppermint.
So what do these oils do for certain insects?
They
repel
them away. Yes, they repel different ones. Like I think spiders don't like peppermint oil. And these bugs don't like lavender oil, and these bugs. So it's like if we just, you know, instead of spraying chemicals, just spray essential oils. It would smell great. We wouldn't be harming anything.
I know.
By the way, we have a termite issue.
I know we have a termite issue.
Our whole place smells like orange oil now.
Oh, is that why there's all the little bottles?
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm like, if you just stay away, I'm cool.
Right.
You can do whatever you want to do.
It's been working.
Orange
oil.
Yeah.
Against termites.
Yeah. And so, but they're life as well, right? Right. They're part of.
Who says that we're the ones that should be ruling their fate?
I know.
Over it.
I know.
Construct over construct. Sorry, what were you saying?
We made your building is made out of wood, so we're gonna.
We chop down the wood
to make your building.
On top of soil.
And where did that wood come from? Who maybe planted that, or did the earth give it to us and we just took it?
Right.
Like,
termites belong as well. I think this is a good healing practice for me because I've been really repulsed by the idea of termites being in the space.
Yes.
And so this is really helping me work through my psychological anxiety around it. So thank you both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going back to Mike.
I want to go back to Armani. And
Armani, yeah.
And her practice.
I want, yeah.
What are we talking about? Like, okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Armani.
Sure.
What? So out of this week, we're coming into Saturday, whatever Saturday is, right? Saturday. Saturn Day.
Maybe. I'll take it.
Maybe the end of the week.
Yes, but then it's like, why week? I hate language.
I know.
I really do. I have a tough relationship with it.
It's same. Yeah, same. We should just do ASMR the whole entire time. Right. And also, like, language too implies like we're not being inclusive to like like sign language. Like there's so many variants. It's like, if it's really crazy, this University of Justice Liberation, they have a sign language person the whole entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Or a captioner.
It's powerful.
I'm like, wow.
I want to turn this podcast into like Tagalog and like
in different languages.
So it's more accessible for people.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that's been on my mind. Like, so the reason why I got into podcasting was so I can spread my message faster, easier, quicker, more efficiently. Mm-hmm. But that's now reminding me of a conversation I had with Ternay a couple weeks ago. Like, with accessibility comes a price. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's accessible for me, but what about the deaf community? How can they, or hard of hearing community, how can they connect with my work? So it's almost like I'm reproducing. So I used to blog, not saying I don't still, but I used to produce my content through blogs. And then I was just like, well, podcasting is going to be easier. It's not going to take me like 4, 5, 6 hours to produce one body of work anymore. Mm-hmm. Even though in a way it still kind of does. But now at the price of my convenience, I'm taking away a moment of accessibility for someone else. So I'm basically reproducing a blog in the show notes for them. And I don't mind it because I don't know what the resources are, and it doesn't seem like they're abundant.
Yeah.
So I try.
Yeah.
But it's yeah.
Yeah. For the blind community, they use I believe the documents, like a PDF or a Word document, gets tagged, and so they have this listening device, or not listening device, kind of like a Siri who like reads it for them.
Yeah.
But I had a conversation with a person who had really bad eyesight, and we were actually Zooming. It was during work, and she had this. Her machine was like reading everything, but super fast.
Right, because she's got a...
Yeah, she's like, I'm used to it. Like, it's reading, like, for people who know Micro Machines commercials, they're like... Oh
my gosh.
And I was like, whoa.
You got all that?
So if I talk that fast, are you able to hear me? She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, they have these reading devices, or out loud reading devices that, like, talk super fast, so they could just go through it really quick.
Yeah.
Ultimate speed readers.
Yeah.
I know it takes me, like, 10 minutes sometimes to read an article.
And then imagine like having to log into Zoom, and their machine is like reading it. Their iPad, she had an iPad, and it was reading like share document, and then it had to go through all the each tab and each thing to make sure, and she knows what to select. Yeah. Like share screen or unmute, mute. It has to read through everything. So imagine that. That's crazy.
Right. And then, so what is rooting in that? What is that root in all of that? All of this information, all of this like discourse that we have to figure out. Like why was she even on the Zoom call? What was her purpose of being on the Zoom call? She's a part of this VAC committee.
VAC.
Voter accessibility.
Yeah. Okay.
And we were having trouble every time we emailed her email would get rejected because of some junk blocker. He used junk block mail, and we were just I was trying to help her to connect and change the email, but it didn't work. And people, it's very hard. She's helping out with our voter accessibility.
Yeah.
She's a member in our committee for that.
I wonder what our fabrication in our current times would look like without institutions. And I feel like everything is always institutionalized, you know? Like the voting is institutionalized. Community care is institutionalized, right? Like through welfare or etc. Right? What would that look like if we didn't feel the need, if there wasn't this like practice of institutionalizing everything? And what would that look like if we just community care was just community care? I mean, it's hard because our income is institutionalized as well. Like the way we receive it, how we receive education is institutionalized.
And it's all a joke at the end of the day. That's the crazy part.
I know. You're like, oh, fuck, I don't know. I don't know how to uninstitutionalize. I don't know.
Layer on top of layer on top of layer.
Hella layers, dude.
A lot.
And it's weird that the root cause is there and we know it. Like I feel like that's what's a mindfuck for me, is that I know it's there. And you're like, oh, okay, well, what position of power do I really have at this time?
Back to Kintsugi.
Yeah.
This, you know what that reminds me of?
Stitches?
Frankenstein.
Oh, Frankenstein.
So there's like this Frankenstein of a monster that we are all in. We are all Frankenstein, maybe?
Maybe. Distortion.
I think the ones who broke the pattern and trying to put it together are Frankenstein. Even though probably the ones who, I don't know, it's an interesting juxtaposition and reflection in a way.
Yeah.
Like even though we might be seen as the ones who are Frankenstein, it's like, well, who put it together? Let's talk about
the mad scientist, right?
Oh,
the crazy scientist who put Frankenstein.
Come on.
Like Frankenstein wakes up.
This is the mindfuckery, y'all. This is it right here.
But we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, of course we don't. We just want to use essential oils to combat my anxiety.
Why do you have anxiety?
Yeah, why the fuck do I have anxiety?
Yo, so Frankenstein was born and he's like, fuck, I have all this anxiety. I'm a monster. And people are just like trying to put him down because he was born from this mad scientist.
Right. Like he didn't ask to be created. He didn't permission, y'all.
Isn't it crazy that like we don't? I lost it, but it's good.
It's good.
Give me a second.
I like it.
Okay, so we're talking about Frankenstein.
I'm like feeling so much right now. I'm like super jazzed.
Oh, it's okay. It'll come back at another point.
Oh, but back to your podcast. Where can people find your podcast?
Yeah. Where can folks find your podcast?
Well, my podcast is available on all platforms thanks to Anchor. Not to even like, you know, shout out to my sponsor. But like, shout out to my sponsor, y'all. Yeah, Anchor. Stop it. My podcast, Armani's Body of Work.
Who's the CEO of Anchor? Sorry,
I have no clue.
Yeah, I've been really
sponsor it anyway, right? Ooh.
Yeah,
it's too much.
That's a rabbit hole as well.
Ooh. It can be found on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Podcaster. Those are all the ones I know off the top of my head.
But
Apple?
What do they search?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Put it in perspective. So before, it was Black Joy and Wellness, but I went through a rebrand with that as well.
Oh, okay.
So I could talk about more. Like,
yeah.
If you're seeing it just at face value, joy, wellness. Okay. Wellness. So people have a different archetype of what that means, and people have an archetype of what joy means, but like when you can take an opportunity to dive deep in wellness, there's different bodies of work that outline wellness with 8 pillars, or you can even go off of a system called Level 10 Life, and it really like dives deep into, you know, financial wellness, mental wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness. So it's like I could still expand on those topics.
Yeah.
But people probably wouldn't see it as face value wellness.
Right.
So put it in perspective seemed perfect. Took me like a solid like maybe day and a half to parse through different things. Like I had different titles that I was thinking of, and then I was like, okay, is this already a podcast? Like blah 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 podcast, right. And it already was like most of the time. So
yeah,
I don't know if this one came in a dream or if it came like at the start of the day. But either way, I ran downstairs to my mom. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Put it in perspective podcast. She was like, yep.
Wow.
Give me a hug. That's it. And I was like, yes.
Thanks, Mom.
So, Put It in Perspective podcast.
That's a good
name.
Sweet.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love
Put it into perspective.
Put it in perspective.
Put it in perspective.
4 words.
Put it in perspective.
Hey.
Yeah.
A. Get it. A.
B, C, D, E.
Put it in perspective.
I love it. Yes.
Cool.
Shout out to Put It in
That's
Perspective.
cool. That's cool that I'm actually I'm learning about this, that you changed it. I didn't know you changed it. So
yeah, I think it was a decision. When did I go home? So
2 weeks ago?
Because this is this weekend. The weekend prior, I wasn't home. So yeah, I guess it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Sweet.
You shot a second episode? I haven't.
I'm on my. So I had tips while advocating for Black Lives, my one with Emani, and my meditation. So I was supposed to record my 4th one yesterday. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I had to come to the fact that like it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna record it with someone else, and I was just like, it's okay that we're not running on the time schedule that I was hoping that we would have been on.
Right.
Like, you know, expectation, release. I'm working on it. But yeah, like I have a whole notebook, so I kind of just, you know, I can go into those ideas until then. But regardless, like, yeah, I'm working on episode 4 at some point soon.
Sweet.
Cool.
What is do you want to give folks like an idea of what episode 4 might be about?
You know, it might be on some of the different things that we've talked about, like just the fabrication of it all. You know, it's something that I had thought about, but I don't think I had the word. And it's so amazing that language is so can either get very specific or very vague. And if our language allows, if our vocabulary allows, if our capacity allows, we can talk about things. But if we can't, then different worlds and opportunities are shut off to you.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find a way to make different things palatable and like examinable with people.
Yeah.
Put it in perspective.
Put it in perspective.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that. I really do like that. Yeah.
Is there one question that I've been seeing constantly is, what have you been doing to boost your immunity?
I've been sleeping regularly. So this week has been very interesting. My goal is just to usually be up before 8.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
But this week, it didn't seem like my body wanted me to be in bed any later than 7.
Oh.
And I came to an acceptance that, like, even though I might wake up and kind of be up for 5 minutes, but then I find my way back to sleep because I'm forcing myself back to sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
Just accept that you're up. Do something with that time.
Yeah.
Like, are you really that tired that you need that extra 20, 30, 40 minutes? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, oh, Emani.
Oh, Emani from the ether.
Shout out to Emani.
Emani.
We had her cookies.
Yes,
We
I
had
miss
her
her.
cookies.
Aww.
What
Should
is
I answer it?
What's her Instagram?
Oh yeah.
Black, BLK, and vegan.
Vegan.
Imani.
Hi, Imani.
Put her thing on the microphone.
But she can't hear you.
I think I can.
Oh, right, because we're in a room. Duh. Imani, we're recording a podcast right now, and
Black and vegan.
Yeah, Black and Vegan, blkandvegan.com now. It's .com and on Twitter.
No, that's not it.
BLK and vegan.
Oh, that was not it.
There she is.
Conservationist? I don't know.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not her. Wait, is that
No, that's her. That's her.
Okay.
And then you can see the website right there. That's the homegirl.
Just followed. You got a new follower.
Hi.
Period.
Your cookies are delicious.
Yeah, thank you for your
Thank
cookies.
you for putting so much love into them. Every bite.
We were at the.
Oh right, you know them.
Yeah, we were at the
we
protest.
know. I bought like 5 of them.
Pieces are protest.
I took up hella space, y'all. I took too many resources. Too many cookie resources. They were so good.
Oh,
so Armani has a Pieces Are Protest. We
Today.
were at the first. We were at the
Yes.
first one, and
Yeah.
that's where we got the cookies from
Yes.
Black and Vegan.
Yes.
And they were
Emani.
warm.
She just made them before she got there. I'm so blessed.
I know.
Literally.
So blessed.
She didn't have to do that. But she did.
She did.
And that's why she's special.
so special.
Imani, I miss you. A lot.
I know. I tried to give you a call. I'm on my way to Austin right now. And I'm like, let me give her a call and stuff she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to you in like a week or 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I think
I can call you after I leave here today.
Yeah, no, I'm happy you're doing your podcast. Like, I really want you to focus on that.
So sweet.
So,
Friendship,
go
y'all.
ahead, focus on your thing.
Friendship.
Okay.
Friendship,
Got you.
y'all.
Can you send me a text so I can remember to call you, please? That happens. Thank you.
Expressing our needs and
Okay.
normalizing.
Well, drive safely. Tell Fabio I said hi. Okay. Bye.
Pieces
How
Are
often do we
Protest.
send a phone call to people we
Right.
love?
It's usually text.
We don't.
I send voice memos, but you still don't.
Voice memos
That's-
are weird for me.
I have another friend that said that. Why are you saying that?
Oh no, I'm like, just fucking call me.
Oh, right.
Because then I'm like, okay, and then I think it's because there's a gap. When you send over a voice memo, there's a gap in that like
that content.
ether, that ether connection. I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
I don't know.
But that's
I'm making it
social
really
media, too.
space. Yeah. But it's accessible, right? It's accessible to those who can't see.
Yes.
So that, I mean, a lot of the like Siri, I'm sure it's probably was purposed around like accessibility.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Besides them listening. But
Listening, right? Yeah.
Anyway.
Collecting our data.
Oh, here are the friends.
Oh, the friends.
Me and my friend.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah. I was thinking about how I missed her yesterday. I was like putting
Aw.
away dishes. I was like, my friend.
I miss my friend.
Yeah.
We gotta
Keep connecting.
keep connecting with our friends, even if it's like been for
Yeah.
a year. I'm sorry to my Hawaii friends. I'm the worst.
But you contacted them. And
But I made it a point this year. I made it a point to get over my ego, right? My ego, and connect with my friends.
What part? The part that was just like, it's been too long and I feel bad? Or
No. It was more of like I've come to realize how much I've excluded people who did care for me, but it didn't serve my purpose. This goal, this far reach goal of like becoming better, right? And like I was prescribing to that myth, like to the identity of a mono minority or whatever it may be, like in society, right? But understanding that you can do it laterally,
yeah,
with people around you, and so that's something that I've accepted this year, like really tapping into that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Another theme that has been around the ether has been connecting to ancestors. And I remember a conversation that we had, Armani, how you were connecting to your grandma. Is that what happened?
My great grandmother, my great grand uncle, and I don't know if I shared this with you too, but I have a twin. Well, I had a twin. I'm the one that made it out of the womb alive.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
When I was younger, and I don't know if that constitutes with the prescribed definition of what an ancestor is.
Yeah.
Because that's like my brother or sister or, like that's this, not this.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it prescribes because it's supposed to be the people that you descend from or the ones elder or, they could have been conceived first. I don't know. But,
wow. I love that I get to, we learn things about
more.
It. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I'm, I don't know. So going into why I want to ring in my great grands. So it's my great grandmother on my mom's side.
Yeah.
And her brother. So my great grandmother here, she just did a lot, like for the community in Stockton. She was like just well connected. From what I've heard, I wish I had more context with all of this, and I can ask my mom. But she helped even, I think, Cesar Chavez organize the walk from Sacramento to, I think it was Stockton.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, I feel like a part of me is doing her a disservice by not knowing all of this. Keeping the story alive.
Right.
And like acknowledging my power within my genetics.
Yeah.
So I call on her because she navigated the scene. The many scene things that could be done. And I call upon my great grand uncle because he left the plantation when he was 12 and came all the way to California, built somewhat of a life. And I think the way my mom told me, it was like probably within 2 years, he got enough money to send to bring the family here. So his siblings, I want to say their mom and dad, but I feel like that's even wrong. No, that might be right because we can go into like deeper history at another time because I don't want to get the details crossed or say anything that might be incorrect because there's a lot of bits and pieces that I still have to connect sometimes. But I call on him because he navigated the unseen, like leaving from Louisiana to California by yourself at 12.
Yeah.
Creating a life and sending for, like that's power.
Yeah.
So I call upon those two for the seen and the unseen. And then my twin for my mom had she told me I have a hard time remembering just different bits and pieces of my childhood.
Yeah.
So, and I don't totally know why. And I brought that up with my mom recently and she was like, honestly, maybe your twin absorbs that negativity and that's what's helping you be positive and bring more light to the world so you're not bogged down.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, I will still give respect because I know they could have been here with me.
Yeah.
And they're not for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I give gratitude for whatever that could have been.
Yeah.
And giving me the opportunity. Because I used to maybe not see it as that, but like just for instance, I wish we could like zoom in on the camera too, like kind of like an Office, the show The Office. But you can see here that like my thumb nails, they're different. They're totally different.
Oh.
Same with like my my long.
I could take a photo.
Okay.
And put it overlay later.
Wish I did my nails.
No,
I wish I did because I wanted to yesterday. It's like, wow, who knew this would be on the close up?
I love your nails. I love your body as is.
Got it.
Yeah. So whenever I would see this, you know, like when they say, oh, well, we want you to bring an item and share what that means to you. And I was just like, one day I could not think of an item, and I had just looked at my hands. I was like, oh, well, my thumbs are different. And I was like, well, what does this remind me of? It reminds me that I had a twin out there. And it also reminds me that maybe we were of the same egg. Yeah. And that even gets deeper for me too, because it's like, if I'm supposed to be the good one or the one who's able to bring that positivity, like, right, you know? Yeah. A lot. Now I'm thinking, like, with Scorpio, how we're birth and death and rebirth in that entire cycle, and like, whew, we're the last day. I was born on the last day, so November 21st, which is the very last day of the Scorpio sequence. So right, one day I was sharing, and I was like, yeah, this reminds me that I'm the twin, and I feel like because of this is a constant reminder that I'm the one that made it, so I want to make it count. It's heavy, but it's true. You're like living for the both. Yeah.
That's fucking deep.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if I've really ever known my life to be any different. And it's hard for me to conceptualize that people don't get deep. Like, that's hard for me. That's my life, though.
I think I asked the question to, like, where do we find our purpose? And I can see, like, where, and I can kind of gather, like, what you draw purpose from, you know, and I think perhaps that's maybe what a lot of people are having, not troubles with, but because there's so many layers, right? Like, I don't even think I know my purpose truly yet either, you know? And so it's really powerful that you just, like, inherently know that.
Maybe.
And it's so powerful, you know? It, like, emulates today, and it's an embodiment today.
Because also a quick mentionable, one is my mom's and one is my dad's. And my feet are swapped. So it's like my left foot and right hand are my mom's, and my left hand and my right foot are my dad's. So it's like, if I think of DNA, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I always thought Armani was a goddess. Oh. And so maybe you are the goddess that is here on Earth.
I believe that both of you are goddesses.
We were talking about like if Jesus if Jesus were to walk here on Earth,
literally,
like we wouldn't really know.
We wouldn't know, because there's two different groups of people that see Jesus in different ways.
Oh yeah,
some of them see Jesus with white skin. Some people say Jesus, and I'm okay. So let me say my verbiage more correctly, the way that I thought about it on the toilet this morning.
Yes.
One group sees Jesus as a white-skinned, long-haired individual. Right.
Yeah.
Another group, which one was it? Thinks. So one group thinks that he's a white-skinned, long-haired, not long, like, what is this? Straight-haired individual. As another group sees that he's a copper-toned man, with woolly hair. So it's like, and the reason why I used think and see is because, well, you know what, whatever. My verbiage might have been more precise this morning, but, you know, like in the Bible, it says copper-toned, woolly hair.
Yeah.
But then what people see are the pictures of what I already described.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, if Jesus did descend today, tomorrow, the next minute, would you know?
Yeah.
Would you be surprised?
Right.
You know? I don't know. It's just more questions.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's been a lot of theories, I think, right? Navigating the theories of what, I guess, like, why do we identify ourselves with our external features? I think that's also an interesting, like, why is that why is that even a thing?
Yeah, and then there's, like, some people believe in just Christ consciousness.
Can you talk about that? Because I'm not familiar.
It's just like consciousness where you embody the mind.
Mm.
The mind of, or just like the thinking process of how Jesus would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or just consciousness in general.
Like the philosophy and the ideology.
Yeah. So
rather than prescribing to like an actual figure.
Like a figure or a.
Like a
so
there's
what
a
happens
superior
if
figure.
Okay,
yeah.
he came down, but then just embodied all our minds, and then everyone just like,
Boom.
felt.
Right. Somatic.
So, but then that makes me also wonder.
More questions than answers.
Thank you. Yeah. What about the other religious texts?
Exactly.
Do theirs not matter?
No.
Are theirs wrong?
No.
I don't know. It's always been really hard for me to be like, this is the only book that matters. Tell your friends. Like I always had an issue with that.
Oh yeah. Oh like, yeah.
And it's like,
did you go to church growing up?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
And if my mom hears this, I'm sorry.
I just have
Mom. So many questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it continues to remind me of like, even with this book, right? Like, what was the university the dude went to? University of Harderwijk. And I guess this is a university that basically used to like hand out degrees. And I guess in academia, if someone says, oh, you must have went to the University of Harderwijk, like, that their degree was trash. Cause like, what did you study?
Right.
You know? So it's like, why are we like, if this was the basis of academia, what does that say about academia?
Oh yeah. There's abolitionist movements. I mean, there's a lot of educators who identify as an educator, right?
Yeah.
Who are about abolishing institutions. It's institutionalization of literally everything.
Mm-hmm. What's truth?
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
And all these different theories, like, let me just go here because it's already defined, so I can just pull up theory's definition.
Thanks, author, for doing that work for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Theory, a proposed explanation whose status is still conjectural versus science is a branch of knowledge or study dealing with the body or facts or truths about physical or material world gained through observation and experimentation. So it's like theory is just a thought, and we have so many of these different theories that are continued to be explored and talked as if they are law or science, but it's not really backed with enough to be considered science. And we still see that science is still being disproven. So it's like,
well, because we're changing, right? Data is collected by our behaviors.
Yeah.
Like, and I think data will continuously change as humans change, as humans evolve, as and so what I think I'm like often contemplating. So like, but why are we changing? Like, I feel like, are we even aware when we're changed? Like,
I think it just goes back to the layers.
Right.
We're trying to dig through the layers that never should have been there. And what did I say? Made sense of nonsense.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I'm over it, Christine.
I know.
Mike, get me out of here. I'm over it.
Right. No.
Yeah, and then think about the people like who can't hear or see, the accessibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And how they've been even pushed out further to the
definitely
outskirts. Because like, you know, the Bible, like if you can't see and you can't read,
they were like inherently not accessible.
Yeah. And so they would have to listen to somebody or
contextualize it for you.
And if you can't travel, if you have a hard time traveling places, how do you get access to resources?
Well, that I think that kind of goes back to what Armani was saying. Like, skepticism is something that you've been really sitting with, and
there's lots of questions.
So much.
Critical, really giving yourself permission to be critical. It takes a lot of energy, to be critical, but I
haven't acknowledged that yet, but it does.
It does take a lot of energy to be critical, especially when you kind of almost know the sense of the rootness of everything is so simple, but like it's evolved to be so complicated by the so many layers and fabrication of how humans are. Yeah.
It's
really tough.
crazy.
Yeah. How do we build a future? How do we build a world where, I think I grab this a lot from Deem Journal. Alice, who is one of their directors or executives, she states, like, how do we design a future where everyone doesn't need to be the same? You know, like, how do you design that? Like, living it, and like, I'm like, shit, I don't know, because if you think everything is institutionalized, everything has a linear structure.
There's no diversity.
No.
Our world,
and diversity is not by skin.
Lacks in diversity because
start there.
Oh, you have a you have a county. Oh, you got a city. You have to have a mayor. You know, every single, it's like copy and paste. Walmart, Target. No diversification.
It's a system.
In creativity.
It is a system
because of our archaic system.
It's so archaic.
Super archaic.
It's so fucking archaic.
Dinosaurs.
Well, I don't know. Dinosaurs were cool. They were too.
How do we know that?
I feel
Based
them.
on what you're saying, go ahead. Go. Just
I
stop.
feel from my what I've received from the idea of what society has put out there of what dinosaurs are. I feel that they're very rooted.
Yeah. Eating plants all day.
Giants.
Being with Earth, taking up hella space.
Not caring either.
No idea of systems and higher. I mean, there might have been like an inherent higher. The term hierarchy implies like human human theorizing around.
If
power,
they were here today, they would be in cages.
Oh my God.
Like elephants, they'll be in zoos.
I know.
And that's why we have so many extinct populations as well. We take up too much space.
We take up too much hella
too
space.
Much damn space. Oh, what does it mean to be human? Like, let's talk about that. What is that?
It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
It's a very good question.
How do we start exploring that?
Can we?
No.
Yeah, let's just start there. Can we?
Living, okay. Conscious and living is a human being.
Okay, but as a human being. Okay, yeah.
A human being is a conscious, living being that exists in a field.
Okay.
You're in a field and you are observing something. That's a human being. Essentially. Is it? That's my exploration so far. You have to exist and you have to observe, be able to observe. But then animals can do that as well.
Right.
They can exist, they could observe. So the brain, the function of the brain. The function of the brain is the reference of what it is to be a human. The frame of reference, which is your brain. Because there's no other brains that match. It won't match a bird, but I mean, a bird will have a brain, but in the frame of context of a human brain.
Right, like the neuron responses.
The shape of it, the hemisphere, and the size. Human being.
I mean, humans are weird as fuck. That's for damn sure.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. But I don't know. It's weird because we're living in this period of time. We have what's our life expectancy like?
They say it's like 80s.
80s, right? That's hella long.
I mean, it's hella long, but then it's like when you look back on the Bible and they were living for like centuries. What are we doing? What's wrong?
Right, that's true. Yeah, we're expendable.
Ooh, that was talked about.
Yeah.
When you see people as numbers.
Yeah.
And not
people.
You know, like beings. Like when you don't have to connect with them, you don't have to foster them. Their growth, their expansion. You don't have to because it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Connect with people. Connecting. Community.
Yeah. I've been meditating on this thought of human sacrifice. Like you see it in past history artworks. For example, I don't know if it's true, but just watching the movies like the Aztecas, the Mayans sacrificing humans on the pyramid and their heads rolling. That's totally Hollywood. But
Right.
just the thought about human sacrifice, it's happening today in our wars, in the way that people are working.
The grind,
Um,
aka the grind.
The invention of vehicles, cars. I'm sure every single person has been in a traumatic car accident. Like when they were inventing cars, were they like, okay,
Thinking about the
are they thinking about
repercussions.
the harm that's going to happen?
No.
Like, were they like,
No.
okay, with the invention of the cars, say if like this many people died, would you be building it? Maybe they didn't care because it was human sacrifice. They're like, okay, it's okay. There's going to be some human sacrifice involved in this. Let's do it. Let's fucking build these metal vehicles that'll kill people.
For profit. For singular profit.
It talked about that too, of like, I guess there was a model of a car, but I guess when they looked at how much insurance would be versus how much it would take to reconfigure the entire car and then put it back on the market, it's just cheaper to pay for insurance. So whatever, let people die, let people get injured, we'll pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, moral ethics. I mean, it's crazy because actually ethnic studies. Yeah. I know they're two different words, but with an N and no N. But anyways,
Branches.
but yeah, no, it's really true what you all are talking about, the expendability of
human
the
life.
human
Or
life.
just not even human, life.
Yeah.
Look what we do to plants and animals all day, every day.
I know.
Or even, not even like, you know, not even plants. And well, this is a plant. This was a plant.
This was a plant.
But then I think of like, you know.
It was a plant. I know.
So it's like we've commodified this, number one. This
Hella
is kind of how
commodified.
we have it now.
Yeah.
That
one's a really pretty one though.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is
Tiger's
those were see those little
pretty.
textures on there?
Yeah.
The textures and the formations.
All of them.
that was created by the universe
Right.
and all the
So pretty.
the interactions, the motions of whatever happened on Earth to
Pressure.
form, the pressure,
And
the
time.
chemical reactions, the time,
Mhm.
and that I was thinking about your thumb.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And that is how your thumbs are.
Yeah.
And that being the form of like,
shit.
like our communication with
The universe.
the universe and crystals and how they were formed and how we were formed. And I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
how do you call on your ancestors? Like, what is your practice?
Your practice.
And I think when we recorded the first episode, I was trying to cultivate a practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for these last probably going on 3 weeks, so it was probably almost strong for a solid week, maybe almost 2, and then I kind of just fell off. I wasn't refilling the little water cup. I wasn't bringing fruit. I wasn't nourishing a connection,
Yeah.
even acknowledging that it was there.
Yeah.
My space, I wasn't acknowledging it. So it's kind of now maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, I don't know, besides meditating or in a moment where I'm feeling a draw to something or feeling some words or feeling a way or contextualizing something. That's to me, I think that's them connecting to me in a moment. But then me connecting to them, I think is when I'm just sitting and just meditating and I guess asking different questions and just prayer and you know, I think that's kind of my process now. I don't know. I think I can't say that someone doesn't have the capacity to maybe jump realms and communicate with ancestors for them to be bring us fruit, bring us water, and make sure that the cup doesn't run dry. You know, I can't say that. But at the same time, if that's not what is working for me right now, I don't think that doesn't mean that I'm still not connecting somehow.
Right. Yeah.
I think for me, I think a start is meditation and prayer. But if a water cup does make a difference. That's something that blanking. Who was also at the tent, who led the closing ceremony with Terra?
Oh, Kato?
Kato.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that she.
Yeah, I believe she's a she.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was mentioning about like, you know, having a water cup does make a difference. Having this makes a difference. But I think she was just essentially saying you don't have to at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of just that intention.
Yeah.
And that intentional, I'm going to interact with this space or with you in this way because I think that this might help us be more intentional.
Right.
So I think it just really depends on how intentional do you want to be and what do you think is going to make a difference. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm in a process of what that means and reshaping that. But in this moment, prayer and meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like the consciousness, like when we were trying to define what a human being is, the consciousness, because we're that stretch of consciousness from our ancestors. And just being here, and then you start, like, I could think about my dad. He's my late dad. I think about him, and then I feel like I am him.
Yeah.
Shout out to Renee Borja. Yeah, the consciousness, and because it feels like my dad he's still here somewhere, but I can't just pick up a cell phone and be like, "Hey, Dad, how are you?" But he is like, it still feels like he's here, and like I guess within myself, my heart. And what's pretty crazy is that just recently, 2 days ago, someone, my mom just like sent me a text and it was like, "Hey, this is your grandpa, your Lolo grandpa, his dad."
Who edited this?
My great grandpa.
Did you edit it?
No, I didn't. I was like, "Mom, where's the original picture? Who edited this?"
That didn't even hit me, but it's like,
And it was a relative. And I was like, this is the first time I've seen my great grandpa's face.
blasting off.
It just came this week, and I was like, I always wanted to see his face. So is this him communicating to me? Like, yo, here, finally, this is the moment in time where you get to see and experience my facial structure.
Yeah.
Or like who.
Oh,
he-
yeah.
the-
That's
he was-
definitely your ancestor.
He was
For
like,
sure.
so I found out that it's kind of crazy because all this information is just popping up right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm finding out that he was trading oil, not oil, sorry, coconut oil. They were coconut oil
That's
traders
what I use to nourish my body.
in the Quezon province, and so
Yeah.
but this was
Sorry.
sent from a relative.
Yeah.
And so that relative are these other like ancestors that are sending information, and then and it reached me through my mom.
Right.
And this web of life that's like happening, and it's kind of crazy that it just
Like you're able to put a face now. I mean, not that it like, I guess has this weight to your experience and like the value, right? The true value that you embody as a person, but it's cool. I think not cool, but maybe there is the practice of like reclaiming it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Reclaiming the stories a little bit more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the stories, right, are very a part of human beings.
Yeah. I do want to recognize that the commercialization of goods is harmful to indigenous people. That's also something I want to recognize in that.
What harmful and what?
Harmful.
Another adjective. Can you add those, please?
Yeah, and harmful in the way that it prescribes them to this capitalistic framework, this economic framework that's made up essentially, right? Like the idea that, I mean, it moves away from bartering, like bartering is just trading of goods, just so that one can have one and the other one. So there still is like a mutual exchange, like the weight of it is mutual, but in the framework of capitalism, it really is just wealth hoarding, essentially. And
right, because where's that money going back to? Not them.
Right. No, not going back. Resources are not going back. It's exploitive, right? Yeah. And so recognizing that, I don't know if your uncle or your grandpa was doing it in the framework of like just bartering or for capitalism. It would be interesting to discern like what point in history was he practicing that.
Yeah. So that's 2 generations.
Right.
Yeah.
But either. Oh, go ahead, please, Mike.
I think it was probably the end of the 19th century.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
not too far.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been for bartering. It might have been. Yeah, I don't know.
It was most likely it was probably capitalistic.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
But either way,
especially in that century.
Right, but it's even though it might have been participating in capitalism, maybe willingly or not willingly, it was to preserve life. Like if you don't participate, then how are you going to make it?
Exactly.
How are you going to pass it on? How are you going to make sure your lineage doesn't have to go through this?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because even that construct is impacted on the indigenous people today. Like the idea of the textile, like that's oftenly commercialized, right? Is goods.
Because
it's their livelihood versus like it being a practice.
Yeah. Because
right?
I had an episode with my mom who I was interviewing, and their experience going to the province, which a province, if people don't know, it's like a rural area.
Yeah.
It was just built out of bamboo. They call them nipa huts.
Yeah.
And it was very rural and just organic way of living. And present day, it's all industrial.
Right. But in a way, there's still a part of it because like imperialism.
Yeah, that's what
essentially, you know, like, and that's where like indigenous sovereignty has came up for me more so like, oh shit, like I did not realize that the solidarity that you need to also stand with indigenous people today. Right.
Right. And that reminds me how we've had conversations about accessibility.
Yeah.
Like using our privilege or the platforms that we have to also say, hey, something's not right here. Right, but you know, something's not equitable.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, yeah.
What's the definition of imperialism versus capitalism? Is there a difference? I'm sure if it has 2 different words.
Yeah, it does. Imperialism like is more around, well, I feel like imperialism often is like land acquisition and through military efforts. Military force, political. Well, yeah. See, so military force, political, and an economic control.
So this is step A, and step B is capitalism.
Yeah,
that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And we're step C, trying to understand all of it.
I know.
Overstand, understand, all of the stands.
Gosh. Understand.
Right. Can't even stand. That's like an accessible issue. Like, language.
Yeah. Maybe they work. Maybe imperialism and capitalism work together.
Okay.
They like
or
support.
The byproduct?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But then,
like,
at the same time,
yeah,
imperialists they'll just force everything.
Right. But
Star Wars imperialism.
Right. Yeah.
I need to watch that. I've never watched it, to be honest.
So, I guess like if a body like the Europeans, like they essentially wanted to acquire and dispossess a lot of the regional parts of the world, they were doing that for social and political and economic control.
Yeah.
Economic control is kind of like in the vein of capitalism, but also capitalism, I guess like the term political, like I wonder what you all kind of receive from that definition and what you pull out of that term, because political is almost like social relationships, like the interchangeable with social like social behavior.
Yeah, till this day I'm still
because everything's political,
exploring that definition of what I see political as.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm totally just exploring that here, but
even me, like working on a San Jose State campus.
Yeah.
One thing I've heard is like, oh yeah, it's political. I'm like, that really expanded my definition of what it meant to be, like what political means. Because for me, I was just thinking, Democratic, Republican, and all the other things in between. But it's like, no, learning how to play the game.
Yes.
Saying the right things that don't ruffle any feathers on anyone's end. Don't show what partisanship you represent,
Yeah.
So different.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we have to essentially mold. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that's really weird. It's really weird. That's just an inherent cultural. Thank you for taking care of our plant.
Oh yeah, I'm just cleaning off the boogers.
Yeah, the boogers off at the plant.
I was wondering, what do you think the reason why people are so like during this time, everyone is like plants are just like
plants and baking and all that.
Plants are just like abundant, and everyone's into plants right now. My uncle and auntie, their house is filled to the brim with.
Has
plants.
it always been, or
no?
I just think people like. For me, I see plants as a reflection of ourselves. I see a lot of lessons that come out of plants, and just like. Sometimes if people don't clean off the scabs, the boogers, that's extra weight that might not even have to be there. So it's like when someone takes that off, you don't have to worry about always having a reminder of something else. But for me, I think, we've had more time to look at ourselves, so we have more time to care for other things that probably even can reflect those same things. You just have time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it might be also a form of escapism by not having to look at yourself. But let me look at this plant. Let me just. The
I was just gonna touch. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical around any form of trend. Like there's a plant trend. Why is there a plant trend? But I'm in the positionality of observing, right, instead of being. And I think something I'm constantly. I think when I remind even in space with you both, how do I be instead of constantly constructing?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
It's okay.
Because if people like plants, whatever, right? Fuck it. What's that? I mean, I'm sure if we tap into how do you get soil? Where's the soil coming from? I'm sure there's, whatever practices, not that it's exploitive, but is there anything that's around that?
Do y'all feel like you've had time to reflect? More time to reflect? During
the pandemic?
Recently?
Yeah, so shelter in place.
2020.
COVID-19.
Compared to
2020.
Compared to previous years?
Yeah?
I don't know.
That was not a strong yeah.
Yeah? Well, yeah, no, yes, for sure. I think I've definitely had more time to reflect and contemplate. But I'm also concerned.
Oh, yeah,
I'm also concerned, oh shit, being unemployed,
You whack creative.
Yeah, Uwak creative. Whatever. Whatever that means, right?
Actually, I feel like I've been given many lenses this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm a camera, and then now I have all these.
Oh yeah.
So many lenses.
Or maybe you're just wiping off the scut.
Oh yeah. Maybe
off
I'm wiping
the
it off and from my heart, and then just getting a little bit more clear 4K vision.
4K.
HD.
Whoa. 4K.
4K.
4K is real.
Which is really weird.
And then it's gonna go 5K, 5G.
Oh my gosh.
Problematic.
Yeah. Hella problematic.
Everything's so problematic.
Yeah. Yep.
I love us.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm glad we didn't even have to say anything else, but we knew.
We knew. Yeah. No, it's actually kind of, something that you both have touched up on is heart-centered, living from the heart. And I don't know where I gathered this from, but some scholars, some articles talking about how I love it.
Are we hearing music or is that just Armani's head?
There's a piano school.
That's all I needed to know.
Yeah. There's a piano school right under us.
Complimentary background music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got
Whatever.
extra mic to put to the floor?
I don't know. Piano is... Where does the practice of piano even come from? And it being classical.
Right. And everything else. Oh.
Yeah.
We can go
Sorry.
all day.
We can go all day. Sorry. I just like to loop us. I just like to be skeptical. It's like, am I negative Nancy or am I just like...
Your name isn't Nancy.
That's true. Negative.
You're clearing the density.
Why do you always...
because it's clipping red on the thing.
Oh. We appreciate you. Technical.
I'm just doing the technical...
technical man.
Mic on the mic.
A technical man.
Technical man. Where was I going? I don't know. I don't remember. Oh,
that's a
fucker. So, I don't know if this is a good time to conclude our video cast, but I think
we need to end it with a meditation.
I think
Were there any other points that you wanted to expand on? I feel like we went on so many tangents.
Oh my god, I don't even think. Yeah,
I don't
which is
even
cool.
know, you know, but like, was there anything else you wanted to touch on, or just save it for another episode?
That's a good check-in question.
Yeah, right now, let me think about it.
Yeah,
I have one. I have one that I want to conclude to. Pick me.
Bing bing bing.
Okay, cool. Heart-centered. Oh, looping back in. So heart-centered. You both talked a lot about the heart-centered.
This is the heart frequency for 32 hertz.
Yes, heart.
I don't know how they got that info, but
right, but they got it.
go on.
But a lot of this European, the impacts of the Europeans into our today lives is not heart-centered at all. You know? And so it's interesting that, like, reckoning with that, I forgot what article it was. If I remember it, I'll definitely reshare it, maybe in the notes of this video. But I'm like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it makes a lot of sense that a lot of the repercussions today does not come from a heart-centered place.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time figuring out how they got to be the ones writing the playbook. I have a hard time. Maybe it's because they had the tool to write and not storytell, which I think storytelling is here.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus writing is.
It's true.
More so maybe here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a very masculine world, not feminine cultivation. It's produce, give, take, blah, blah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So the main, I feel like the main route that I was exploring is that it's all propaganda. Literature it was all propaganda because if you look at all literature, it's all from the kings and queens and just
only
being
elite people had
elite.
Like, elite had
so elite
right.
In order to have inks, in order to have paints.
Right.
Paper, the whole paper process, and I mean it's very reflective of today and throughout the wars. Like, you just put out media, paper, propaganda, posters, art, using art and creativity for power control.
Business.
It's
all business to them.
It's been used in illicit ways.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting to navigate in the terrains now going forward. Like, how do I step away from the frameworks of just doing business with people?
Yeah.
You know, like truly valuing what that person brings, not on what they do, but just like who they are, like their stories. Like, I don't think if we were all just talking business on this podcast, like how to figure out your finances in a capitalistic world, right? We wouldn't even get to like what really makes us cry, right? What makes us laugh?
I'm grateful.
Yeah. Like
they're not even in the same book, conversation, sentence.
No.
Finances and love. What? You don't mix business and pleasure.
Yeah.
They tell you that.
Yeah.
Even though it's
weird.
All day.
Yeah, we can go all day. for sure. But that's how I wanted to end, ending on the idea of heart-centered work, or not even work, but just heart-centered like existence, and embodying that. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. I mean, you both talked about it, and so I just wanted to shine more light on that.
I'm glad you brought the theme, because I kind of lost everything. I was so in the moment with this whole experience, I can't even tell you.
I know. It's good. I don't. Where's it? What is the beginning?
I forgot we even talked about Frankenstein until I had to bring that back to myself. Like, whoa, you know?
Oh God, this is
so
gonna
present.
be a good rewatch.
Hit the fork and then put it on your sternum.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Sorry. The vibration.
Feels good.
So I hate to do this, but I need to use the restroom.
I know. I think we should close out.
But I still want to do the meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I could cut it out. I could clip it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Can you let me know if there's any termites out there?
You want to check? You
What
want
do
to
they
take a quick
even look
break?
like? Yeah, let's just take a break.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
I don't
let
even
me
know what they
take
look
Are we recording?
Yep.
All right, Mike. So what was that last concluding thought that you wanted to touch up on?
It was similar to like the food pyramid, how that was installed into at least the perception of United States food pyramid of like what is the correct things to eat. Like on the top of the food pyramid was it meat? I forget.
Well, at the bottom, the base.
The base.
Well, the base was grains. Should
probably pull one.
Yeah,
up.
let's just pull it up.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Duh.
And the fact that it changes as well. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Food.
You bring it up, Mike?
Pyramid. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You're which one is which?
I mean, does it even matter anymore? Because they change.
Oh, traditional. Here's something.
Okay.
Traditional versus.
Oh, okay.
Before it was sugars and fats on top. It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh.
And now it's
vegetables at the bottom. Oh wait.
second tier.
versus-
It's not even the
I don't
first
think
one.
that's the one I had in school. Carbohydrates might have been the base.
It definitely. That's the one I remember was carbs at the bottom.
But meat was at the top for me, I think.
Well, meat was that's the second to last tier right here.
Oh, okay.
That's what I remember too.
Yeah.
It was closer to the top, but it's like we make it so primary in the standard, at least standard American diet. That's primary. Like what's a meal without meat?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that made me think about
as a vegan
how
in the United States.
Come on.
people process when they say we're processing through our brain, and I never really looked at the brain being the stomach, the brain being the heart. That was just a thought. How do you feel about that?
Your brain, so your heart in your stomach?
Being a brain
Your
as well.
brain in your stomach. Oh, well, both, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, somatically, does that feel like that's for you more so?
Or yeah, I guess the connection of the brain, like, or that was brought up because of how we process our emotions. Like when you're saying process your emotion with your tummy.
Yeah.
So maybe I used to think that we just process stuff through our brain.
Well, I think that's because you're a very logical person, and so you have an different idea of what logical analysis is and where it feels like, and also you identify as a male as well.
What does that mean?
I mean, what does it mean for you? What did you pull from your men's circle? Like, why was a men's circle even initiated?
That's right. Why was it initiated? Because it's hard to talk about feelings, and just being vulnerable was like a main thing as well. Just the ability of being a male in society and being vulnerable. Because
I'm sorry to cut you off, but male or a man? Like, what if you were born male, but maybe identify as a woman? Can they still join that circle?
That's a good question. We never explored that.
Yeah.
That's what I brought up too.
I definitely cut you off. That just really
no.
It had to come out. So
no, it's good. It's good.
It's good that we
put
those things out, and
it's a safe space for interjection.
And then that's the thing with the men's circle is we're in this container together, and it's a safe place to voice out anything, right? And that's a legitimate thing to bring up.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure it would be okay.
Yeah. It would be, but it's not talked about. And so I think if your position
within that container, right?
Your positionality of being here with two women who both brought up transgender or just even the identity and labels, because I energetically like masculinity is not tied to your, or
maybe it was patriarchy.
So that's something you
in a patriarchal design that in my own interpersonal experience of what it means to be a man.
Right. Yeah.
which I have. It's so blurry still, you know.
Yeah.
But not blurry in the sense that a lot of men cannot speak about their feelings and being vulnerable, which is problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I guess, like the container to, I don't know. It was your experience, right?
Yeah.
That was experience, and that was the container that was being cultivated and fostered. So I feel like I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of that experience because I wasn't there.
But it has brought a new lens into perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Armani's
Put It in Perspective,
Put It in Perspective podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because usually, like back in the day when just being male and just hanging out with the homies, you're just talking shit or not really, just making fun of each other.
Yeah.
Type of surface level conversation.
Yeah. It's a culture, right? And it's an identity, identity culture, culture identity.
What do they call it? I forget it.
I don't know. I'm trying to.
Because it's not gassing anyone.
No.
But I forget what they call it, but it's like, why is that the basis? Why is the basis to poke fun at? It challenges individuality. And that's what I think is the container of being masculine, looking on the outside. You have to fit this container to be a man, masculine, and
yeah.
I guess
the whole definition of
yeah,
femininity and masculinity, giving, receiving. I feel like we've covered this before.
Yeah, we did talk about that last time. Huh?
Yeah, and I really actually kind of want to loop back into that because our ideas of masculinity is not authentic to what it really is. Because
the layers, like poking fun at people and being a dude, like what we know what being a dude is, like, is not that. That's why I try to refrain from like attaching that to masculinity. Like, it's not.
It's patriarchal in a sense.
Yeah, it's all a
like being afraid of like I want to bring this up or else I'm gonna get made fun of.
Come on, that's not fair.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that all men are like that, but
yeah,
there's like a culture.
And sometimes I wonder, like, man, would I ever want to be a man?
Yeah.
Or you know what? Because I could identify as a man today if I wanted to. I wonder what it's like to identify as a masculine male, cisgendered
yes.
man or cisgendered male.
I think it's man.
Okay.
Because male implies just your like born
biology.
Yeah. But
not your sociology.
But man implies more of a culture identity.
So I just wonder, like, sometimes I wonder what that's like. Yeah. But then the part of me that's so like sends gratitude for the fact of like the fluidity and the expression of what it means to be a woman.
Yeah.
A cisgendered woman.
Cisgender, yes.
Like, I don't know. We don't have to live in the same box. Like I feel like cisgendered man's like ability to live is in a closed mason jar container. Like, that's it. Yeah. Versus us, ours is open.
Yeah.
We flow, we let things in, we don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
We still have our own things too, but
yes.
It's a different expression and experience, and I'm grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough because I don't know what like the man figure is like. The only man figure I had in my life was my grandpa, and that was it. But he was actually very nurturing, you know. But it's layered with the idea that he is my grandfather, not necessarily my dad. So it has that like gap, I guess. And he wasn't a part of the conceiving of me, right? And so like he's more of just like this angel I would constitute more that he is just in that closest proximity, right? Because like, was he real? He seemed real to me.
Ooh.
But shoot,
we can go on all day.
I know.
Ooh, that's such a good point.
And the whole giving and receiving part, I feel like is super blurry as well, because women give a lot. They give us.
I know.
And they birth us. That's giving, right?
It's a balance.
Yeah.
You know?
It is, yeah.
Because yes, we receive, but we do also give. So it's like, yeah, what does it mean to be masculine and feminine?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or is that construct?
Oh, right.
Is that construct even correct? Like the food pyramid. That's why I brought up the food pyramid. Mm-hmm. Like people pushing the food pyramid on us.
As a framework.
It's a framework and a lack of diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not good for everybody. Everybody can't. So there's people who can't
even have grains.
Yeah, they can't have grains. So
right.
Masculine, feminine, is that a construct that has been placed in our grid?
I think it's been placed under the idea of your like biological, like of having a vagina, your
emotional,
like you're emotional or you're inherently feminine. But in a Reiki session that I had, I actually embodied more masculinity. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, interesting.
And how did they define that?
She just felt it.
Right.
Like she just felt it, because Reiki is like an energy work, and I really didn't dive into any details about my life, but she was able to kind of pull this, and I was like, oh, okay, that actually makes sense.
And she said you have to receive more.
I have to be open to receiving more than giving. Like when someone tells me like they're confining in me, I feel like I feel compelled to give. Mm-hmm. Right? Like or compelled to do more work than that is asked of me. Mm-hmm. Just the act of giving. I don't know. The act of giving too, I think it's blurry as well. Mm-hmm. Right?
That then, like, if like we were kind of getting into with femininity and masculinity kind of being interchangeable in their own ways, it's almost just like I lost it, but it's just the fact that like it's interchangeable. Mm-hmm. And at the same time it kind of switches.
Yes.
Because it's like, even though a woman can be the place to cultivate, they also give.
Yes.
So does the garden. It's just,
it's fluid.
We just have to recognize that it's fluid.
It's a fluid concept.
Like, can you even give the shapes of masculinity or femininity, like the circle, the square,
right?
Triangle.
Yeah, that is true. If we go back to well,
I still feel like, when you look at nature, nothing is like,
no, it's not.
And I think this is masculine, which something is free flowing is more feminine, but that's also the construct that we've been given to think about it.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No. That makes a lot of sense.
Did you hear me scratching my cheek? Did you hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. I heard it. You did? Oh my gosh, this is
ASMR. So we're gonna conclude. I'm just kidding. But no, that's a really good point.
Is that like a leather bongo too?
I think so.
See, like alive skin and like dead skin. Yes. Wow, you hear the difference?
Yes. Oh, I just had a really good visual. Okay, yeah. Skin?
Yes.
Slapping skin? That's just really like the sound. Like if there was no video.
Right, right. What is that?
What is that? What is she hitting?
Right. Right.
This is so good. Sorry.
Any
bongos.
Right. Did we explore your topic that you wanted to bring up though?
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, so if we were to contextualize masculinity, would you feel like that's heart-centered?
No.
That's heart.
I think contextualizing isn't, like, why do we have to make sense of anything? Why can't we just be?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That reminds me of kind of just with nature, right?
Yeah.
Nature is, I think I talked to you about this the last time, but like nature is as science is trying to explain what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
The, like, God, the universe is as religion is trying to explain what it is. You know, just being versus contextualizing. Just they're different.
Do you think contextualizing is an act of masculinity?
It might be what we've prescribed to be masculine. The collection, well, not collection, but like the doing. You know?
Because you're giving.
But then that's that fluidity of masculinity and femininity.
Yeah.
Giving is supposed to be feminine.
Right.
No, it's not. Well, it is. Like it's a lot.
Well,
because if we think of the sun, that's giving.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be masculine, and the Mother Earth is cultivating, but it's still also giving.
Yeah. Yes. It's still giving. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and we just need to be together in a world where we all don't need to be the same.
Layers.
Diversity.
Yeah.
It's great.
Whatever diversity means, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well.
Any closing thoughts for you?
Any closing thoughts?
I think my closing thoughts will be explored through meditation.
Okay, cool.
I think so.
All right. So, yes, Armani is going to be closing out.
All right, everybody, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So as we started, connecting with whatever is below you. Maybe sitting, maybe laying. Just connecting with what is genuinely beneath you. And exploring the construct of what that is. The construct of why this was chosen to be the foundation under you. But at the same time, still giving gratitude for this experience. And now becoming more aware of what is around you, whatever is accessible to your ability to process what is in your environment. Expand your creativity and explore your senses. Be as close, skin level, or as far, ether, as you're willing to expand and explore. Exploring. Acceptance or questioning. And asking yourself why you do accept or don't accept. Why you do question and why you don't question. And through this process of exploration are so many layers. Maybe layers that you've made sense of for yourself, or maybe layers that you've agreed upon from another source that experienced and contextualized and received from someone else's experience and contextualized, and so on and so forth. So once again, questioning and agreeing. And asking why or why not. And also through it all, through the layers that you might have uncovered for yourself or might have identified as someone else, acknowledging it and accepting that that's a book that you might not be wanting to open today, and giving yourself permission to not continue to ask why. Giving yourself permission to acknowledge that the opportunity is there if it allows. But thank you, maybe another time. And also acknowledging that capacity for that other time may not happen. And maybe also being okay with that. And the questions for why or why not that capacity or that time or why not now, instead of continuing to dive down the hole, just being okay. So reorienting ourselves within this space, or the space or the ether that you've explored. Maybe giving your okay, your gratitude, your thank you. Maybe labeling those things as maybe another day, or maybe not at all. And being okay with whatever decision you choose today. While also acknowledging that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay. Who said? And in this moment, refocusing on the barriers that sometimes we put on ourselves. The labels that we put on ourselves or took upon from someone else and stapling that label to ourselves. Let it go. Reorienting ourselves to be who we want to be. The change that we want to embody. But continuing to reorient what those questions, those books, those untouchable, unspeakable, unfathomable, unexplorable things may be that one day may or may not change. But at the core of it being okay, having acceptance, but also acknowledging the consequences of what that means. Acknowledging what you may hold on to as a result of not opening. The consequence of exploring versus not. Newfound capacity, newfound wounds, and through it all being okay with it. So bringing ourselves back into our body, maybe feeling what's below again. Reorienting with the space. Physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever way you want to re-emerge into the space, I invite you to take it. Sharing gratitude with the experience and the route you decided to take. Not leaving it as a moment and an open door to continue to explore the other ones. Be present in the one that you did choose. Not wandering, but being present. Giving this moment all of what it is. All of what it can be for you. And being grateful for what it is. Maybe reconstructing what that feels like. What labels, what energy, what creation you give it. And being okay with it. And if you're not knowing that you always have the ability to change your mind. Thank you.
Thank you both for, I'm so honored to be surrounded by very creative individuals and to be standing on Ohlone land and thank you for your presence and thank you so much for this meditation. Thank you.
I appreciate the space to inquire deeper with both of you.
Yeah.
It's not easy being an inquisitive mind in a world that wants to place you in a box or place things in boxes. So I'm grateful for having the opportunity to open boxes with you. Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. I think just realizing like how heart-centered you both are in the space and how you show up. I think tapping into that or like maybe discerning more of that this year and like how that contributes to like how I move in space, right, with others. It's really good, or maybe it's more of a prevalent affirmation of this work or not work. I don't know. I keep going to that word, but
that's okay.
Just its existence and how we move, the power that we all have, like from this heart-centered space that you each embody. So thank you. And thank you again, like going back to that land acknowledgement, being able to exist here, to have this experience. Like it's gratitude is not it's not enough, right? It's not enough, but I recognize that, right? And that's what I can offer right now. And so thank you. A lot of it's feeling somatic, a lot of somatic energy right now. And so that's I think that's the best video cast out there, I think. But
I love you.
Love you
I
all.
love you.
I love you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for your presence, and everybody treat each other kindly with love, and be safe out there.
Whatever safe is, but
right. Until next time.
Until next time.
Things will change.
Holy
I'm sure.
That was amazing.
Yeah, this was special.
So special.
Very special.